Adonai Dole. Marie.
PANINDUGAN Virtual Presskin Ground Rules and Etiquette. 1. Sign in 30 minutes prior to the meeting to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format, name of agency _name and surname _designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. Thank you and welcome to PANINDUGAN, Virtual Capihan with PSA and friends. Welcome guests and participants. PANINDUGAN Virtual Presskin. 1. Sign in 30 minutes prior to the meeting to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format, name of agency _name and surname _designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. Thank you and welcome to PANINDUGAN, virtual Capihan with PI and friends. Welcome guests and participants. PANINDUGAN virtual Preskin ground rules and etiquette. 1. Sign in 30 minutes prior to the meeting to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format, name of agency _name and surname _designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. Thank you and welcome to PANINDUGAN, virtual Capihan with PI and friends. Welcome guests and participants. PANINDUGAN virtual Preskin ground rules and etiquette. 1. Sign in 30 minutes prior to the meeting to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format, name of agency _name and surname _designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. Thank you and welcome to PANINDUGAN, virtual Capihan with PSA and friends. Welcome guests and participants. PANINDUGAN virtual Preskin ground rules and etiquette. 1. Sign in 30 minutes prior to the meeting to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format, name of agency _name and surname _designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. Thank you and welcome to PANINDUGAN, virtual Capihan with PSA and friends. Welcome guests and participants. PANINDUGAN virtual Preskin ground rules and etiquette. 1. Sign in 30 minutes prior to the meeting to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format, name of agency _name and surname _designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. Thank you and welcome to PANINDUGAN, virtual Capihan with PSA and friends. Welcome guests and participants. PANINDUGAN virtual Preskin ground rules and etiquette. 1. Sign in 30 minutes prior to the meeting to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format, name of agency _name and surname _designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. Thank you and welcome to PANINDUGAN, virtual Capihan with PSA and friends. Welcome guests and participants. PANINDUGAN virtual Preskin ground rules and etiquette. 1. Sign in 30 minutes prior to the meeting to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format, name of agency _name and surname _designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. Thank you and welcome to PANINDUGAN, virtual Capihan with PSA and friends. Welcome guests and participants. PANINDUGAN virtual Preskin ground rules and etiquette. 1. Sign in 30 minutes prior to the meeting to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format: name of agency _ name and surname _ designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. Thank you and welcome to PANINDUGAN, virtual Capihan with PSA and friends. Welcome guests and participants. PANINDUGAN virtual Preskin ground rules and etiquette. 1. Sign in 30 minutes prior to the meeting to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format, name of agency underscore name and surname underscore designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. Thank you and welcome to PANINDUGAN, virtual Capihan with PI and friends. Welcome guests and participants. PANINDUGAN virtual Preskin ground rules and etiquette. 1. Sign in 30 minutes to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format, name of agency underscore name and surname underscore designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. Thank you and welcome to PANINDUGAN, virtual Capihan with PI and friends. Welcome guests and participants. PANINDUGAN virtual Preskin ground rules and etiquette. 1. Sign in 30 minutes prior to the meeting to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format, name of agency underscore name and surname underscore designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. Thank you and welcome to PANINDUGAN, virtual Capihan with PSA and friends. Welcome guests and participants. PANINDUGAN virtual Preskin ground rules and etiquette. 1. Sign in 30 minutes prior to the meeting to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format, name of agency underscore name and surname underscore designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. Thank you and welcome to PANINDUGAN, virtual Capihan with PSA and friends. Welcome guests and participants. PANINDUGAN Virtual Presskin Ground Rules and Etiquette. 1. Sign in 30 minutes prior to the meeting to enable everyone to check the audio and video settings. 2. For uniformity, rename your profile in this format: name of agency _ name and surname _ designation. 3. Your camera should be turned on for security purposes while the meeting is in progress. Avoid eating and roaming around, but if necessary, kindly turn off your camera. 4. Mute yourself as default and after speaking. 5. When you have to speak, wave or use the chat box. Unmute yourself when you are recognized to speak by the host. 6. Listen and participate actively. Everyone is expected to share ideas, ask questions, and contribute to the discussion. The program is about to start in 5 minutes. Please make sure your mic is muted, and again, a gentle reminder, please make sure to rename yourself so that the host and everyone in the meeting will be able to recognize you. Rename your profile in this format: name of agency _ name and surname _ designation. Thank you. The program is about to start in 3 minutes. Please make sure your mic is muted. Again, a gentle reminder, please make sure to rename yourself so that the host and everyone in the meeting will be able to recognize you. Rename your profile in this format: name of agency _ name and surname _ designation. Thank you. program is about to start in a minute. Please make sure your mic is muted. Again, a gentle reminder, please make sure to rename yourself so that the host and everyone in the meeting will be able to recognize you. Rename your profile in this format: name of agency, underscore, name and surname underscore, designation. Thank you. Welcome guests and participants.
Our Heavenly Father, the fount of all goodness and grace, the cause of wisdom, the source of intelligence, we welcome you, O Lord, to this auspicious gathering of your beloved, who continuously give you thanks for every opportunity to learn something new and become fruitful to the works of your creation. We humbly come to you, not because we are worthy, but because we find ourselves in need of you, who is our strength and our hope, to continue despite the challenges we face in health, prosperity, and our solidarity with one another. We pray that today's gathering, made possible by the grace of advancements in technology and social media, becomes successful in its endeavors, so we can offer it back to you as our humble offering to honor you, glorify you, and love you through our deeper connection with everyone. May we find bliss in today's session and become more productive children and co-creators of the earth. This we ask and pray through Christ our Lord. Amen.
sa kaunlaran. Gusto mo bang malaman ang mangyayari sa kinabukasan? Gusto mo bang matiyak ang tamang kahihinatnan ng ekonomiya, seguridad at kalusugan? Edukasyon, propulsyon o anumang larangan. Halika, tayo'y magsaliksik, gamitin ng estadistika dahil ito'y mahalaga. Sa pagdating ng buwan ng Oktubre, ating ipagdiwang estadistika ay isang buhay, ating pahalagahan. Tanong-datos ay kailangan, eksaktong figura o bilang, dahil bawat tumiro'y katotohanan. Ang estatistika ay kasangkapan, tungo sa kaunlaran. Estatistika, daan sa kaunlaran. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, ating suriin mga problema ng bayan. Estatistika ay ating katuwang, magkaisa sa pagtuklas ng kasagutan. Saan ka man galing, alam ang iyong kultura. Halina't magsiyasat gamit ang estatistika, magtambag, tumulong sa kaunlaran. Ikaw, ako, tayong lahat ay makialam. Halika, tayo'y magsaliksik, gamitin ng estadistika dahil ito'y mahalaga. Sa pagdating ng buwan ng Oktubre, ating ipagdiwang estadistika ay isang buhay, ating pahalagahan. Tamang datos ay kailangan, eksaktong figura o bilang, dahil bawat tumiro'y katotohanan. Ang estatistika ay kasangkapan, tungo sa kaunlaran. Estatistika, daan sa kaunlaran. Estatistika, daan sa kaunlaran.
A well-informed Filipino is an empowered Filipino. Welcome to the Philippine Information Agency, Eastern Visayas, Regional Office 8. Panindugan, a virtual kapihan with PIA and friends.
Magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Good morning, Eastern Visayas. Ito po ang iyong kaibigan at lingkod bayan na si Gemma Tabaw ng Philippine Information Agency Region 8. Nandito ang iyong gobyerno handang kumalinga sa inyo. Nandito rin ang pribadong sektor na nakikipagtulungan sa pamahalaan sa pamamagitan ng whole of nation approach para sa kapakanan ng nakararami. Ito po ang mensahe na gustong ipaabot sa inyo ng Regional Task Force 8 LCAC at ng Regional Interagency Task Force on COVID-19 sa pamamagitan ng Strategic Communication Cluster at ng Crisis Communication Cluster kung saan pareho po ng Philippine Information Agency Region 8 ang cluster lead. Ngayong araw na ito ay pag-uusapan po natin ang pagdiriwang ng 32nd National Statistics Month ngayong darating na buwan ng Oktubre. Kaya makakasama po natin ngayon ang ating mga bisita na pangungunahan ng ating very energetic and competent na Regional Director ng Philippine Statistics Authority na walang iba kundi si Director Wilma Perante. Good morning, Ma'am Wilma.
Good morning, Ma'am Gemma. Good morning sa mga listeners and viewers of Panindugan.
Yes
Opay
po.
nga aga ha ato niya tanan.
Nandito rin sina Mr. Linito Pascual, ang Supervising Economic Development Specialist ng National Economic and Development Authority Regional Office 8. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm here to represent our director, Attorney Bonifacio Uy. And good morning, Ma'am Wilma. Good morning to everyone.
Kasama rin natin ngayon si Ms. Norma Ray Cosimiano, ang Information Officer ng Department of Labor and Employment Regional Office 8. Good morning, Ms. Maray.
Good morning po sa ating lahat. Good morning, Ma'am Gemma. Good morning to everyone, especially to our Wilma Perante and to everyone who is present virtually. Thank you.
Nandito rin ang ating mga kaibigan sa local media at ang ating mga Provincial Information Center Managers ng PIA Region 8. Once again, magandang araw po sa ating mga bisita at magandang araw sa ating mga media partners. Ngayon ay pakinggan po natin ang pangunahing mensahe ng ating mga bisita. Ma'am Wilma. Ma'am Wilma, for your opening message. Nakamute kaya ta, Ma'am Wilma.
Thank you to PIA. Thank you, Ma'am Gemma, for inviting PSA RSSO 8. Good morning, everyone, again, to all the media who are around and to our partner agencies, especially to NEDA Director Attorney Bonifacio Uy, represented by Mr. Linito Pascual, and to DOLE Director Henry John Halbuena, represented by Ma'am Nomare Costimiano, PSA officials and staff, and to all viewers and listeners of Panindugan. Again, magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Come October, we will be celebrating the 32nd National Statistics Month. This is an annual observance of the National Statistics Month, which is pursuant to Presidential Proclamation number 647, declaring the month of October of every year as the National Statistics Month, which was issued last September 20, 1996 by then President Corazon C. Aquino. So this year's theme is NSM at 32, revving up for economic and social recovery through evidence-based policies. This theme highlights how important statistics as basis for policy decisions to address the socio-economic impact of COVID-19. So it has been almost 2 years now that we are experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic. So it underscores the relevant statistics as solid evidence in guiding our policymakers and support the country's efforts in navigating the pandemic towards socio-economic recovery. So there are lined up activities of the statistical community in the region to celebrate the 32nd National Statistics Month. Happy 32nd National Statistics Month, and thank you and good morning, everyone.
Thank you po, RD Wilma. Sir Lito from NEDA.
Yes, good morning, Ma'am Gemma, and thank you for inviting us. We also thank PSA for spearheading the NSM activities. This year's theme is really very related, very relevant to one of our main functions in NEDA, which is to provide full support to the RDC, or the Regional Development Council, since statistics has always been the basis, or should always have been the basis for all the policies in the government, because it is only through statistics that we can assess whether we have made, we can measure the right direction and decisions that we make. Thank you and good morning to everyone.
Thank you po, sir. How about Ms. Maray Abdole?
Yes, I'm speaking in behalf of our regional director, RD Henry John Asadwan, who is currently attending a virtual budget hearing. So, as one of the co-hosts for this year's celebration of the National Statistics Month, we would like to thank everyone, especially the PSA and the TIA for having us. This is a privilege, of course, to also disseminate what our agency has been doing for the past months. Especially, we are just like what Wilma said, we are almost two years into this pandemic. So maybe it's really high time that we appreciate timely statistics, and as from the labor department we will be doing our part to for others to appreciate statistics, especially this pandemic. So maybe I will not be speaking for long. Good morning po, and I look forward to a productive press conference this morning.
Okay, salamat Ms. Maray. Ngayon naman ay bibigyan natin ng pagkakataon na magtanong ang ating mga kaibigan sa local media at ang ating mga provincial managers ng PIA Region 8. Unahin po natin si Sir Jimmy Angay-Angay ng DYBL para sa kanyang katanungan. Sir Jimmy, pasok po. Sir Jimmy. Okay, balikan na lang po natin Sir Jimmy. Tawagin naman natin ngayon si Sir Cyrix Rimanes ng UNTV.
Yes po, good morning po. Ask ko na lang po for PSA or sa other agencies na rin in terms of economic growth dito po sa Region 8. Where are we doon sa ano natin? Parang mas tumaas po ba in terms of employment rate dito for Dole, mas tumaas po ba ang employment rate natin or mas bumaba in the previous years po, especially this time of pandemic?
Hello po. And Ms. Maray from Dole. Hello po.
Hello, Ma'am Gemma, if I may, for PSA.
Yes po, go ahead, Director.
Okay. Thank you, Cyrix, for your question. Let me reiterate on the results of the gross regional domestic product in Eastern Visayas. So the latest, kasi 2021 pa man lang tayo ngayon. So the latest data on national accounts, bale, for Eastern Visayas is actually for 2020, no? So if you can still remember when we had this data dissemination, we were able to announce that the economy of Eastern Visayas contracted by 7.6% in 2020 from the positive 5.6% growth recorded in 2019. So that's where we are now. And then for the labor, the latest data we have is July 2021. So where are we now? So if looking at the employment rate, we are actually for July 2021, we are at 93.85% of the population aged 15 years old and over in the among the population who are in the labor force, 93.85% are employed. This is the data as of for July 2021. It's not as of, for July 2021. Mataas na din yon ang ating employment, actually, dun sa ating employment rate for July. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you po, Director Wilma. So for our next question, tawagin po natin yung ating Provincial Manager ng PIA Samar, si Ms. Golda Mier Tabao. Ms. Golda.
Hello po, good morning. Yes po, regarding sa ating NSM month celebration. So may we please know the theme of the celebration for this year, and saglit lang po, nag-echo po ako. May we please know the theme for this year, and ano po yung mga activities po natin na nakalaan para sa ating NSM celebration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For the 32nd National Statistics Month, our theme is NSM at 32, Revving Up for Economic and Social Recovery through Evidence-Based Policies. So we have major activities no, na naka-line up for the various agencies in the region. So bali yung ating major activity, our opening National Statistics Month, which is will be hosted, no, as mentioned kanina ni Ma'am Marie, hosted by DOLE, Region 8. Bali, that will be on October 4. So may mga topics tayo na i-discuss no, from the various agencies and also local government units. So we have from DOLE, we also have from LGU or MOC, VSU, na magdi-discuss, no, sharing their programs and activities related to the theme Revving Up for Economic and Social Recovery through Evidence-Based Policies. So marami tayong naka-lined up na mga activities. So pwede natin i-visit yung ating website, but let me announce na mayroon po tayong hanging of streamer throughout the month and posting of the NSM streamer. And we will also be launching the CBMS TikTok challenge no, of PSA. That will be on October 4. And then there will be a virtual fun run for 3 hosted by DNR. That will be from October 4 to 14. And then we will be having also PSA Regional Office via PSA EV official Facebook page, the FB Stats Go. That will be October 6, 8, 13, 15, 20, and 22. So there will be trivia questions that will be posted every Wednesdays and Fridays for the during the month of October. And then October 12, we will be having target setting for the regional SDG indicators by NEDA. And then there will be discussion on the briefing. There will be a briefing workshop with stakeholders towards the compilation of provincial product accounts. That will be October 14 and 15. And then October 15, 18, there will be data cartooning contest to be hosted by PSA CHED and SPSTS. And then we have 15 also to 18 data storing contest. And 15 to 22, we will be having a 1-minute stat vlog contest by PSA and RSC 8, as well as 19 to 22, let's wrap it up activity. And then we'll also be having 21 to 25 CBMS TikTok challenge by PSA, and 25 to 26 also to be hosted by PSA on Eastern Visayas Regional Statistical System Assembly, and October 28, that will be our closing to be hosted by PSP. So you can also view this, our NSM activities, various activities for October in our website. Thank you.
Salamat po, Ma'am Wilma. Pwede ba kaming sumali sa TikTok?
TikTok challenge. Opo, ma'am, benefits to residents of Eastern Visayas age 15 to 60 po. That can be solo or group.
Salamat po. Siguro, Sir Jimmy, sasali yan kasi mahilig si Sir Jimmy sa TikTok. Anyway,
okay.
For our next question, this will come from Sir Ronnie Januario. Sir Ronnie. Hello, Sir Ronnie. Okay, balikan na lang po natin si Sir Ronnie. This time, pakinggan po natin ang question galing sa Provincial Manager ng PIA Eastern Samar, si Ma'am Ninfa Quirante. Hello, Ma'am
Good morning,
Ninfa.
Gemma. Good morning sa ating mga partners. Ang itatanong ko po, pwede pong sagutin ng NEDA or PSA, Ma'am Wilma. Sorry po, hindi ko masyadong nag-get yung parang GDP ng Eastern Visayas, Ma'am.
Meron po tayong GDP for 2020, negative 7.6%. Ma'am Nemfa.
Thank you, Ma'am. So at the rate kasi po yung ating theme ay parang about social or economic recovery. At the rate we're going, Ma'am, palagay nyo ho, at pwede ko na rin pong itanong sa NEDA, gaano ho kaya tayo katagal o kabilis makaka-recover?
Yes.
Thank you, Ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ma'am Kerante. For the region, we are expecting based on the plans on the COVID-19 rehabilitation and recovery plans, we're expecting that we could recover 2 to 3 years from now. However, that was with the assumption 2 years was the maximum. However, that was based on the assumption that the pandemic would only last about 1 year. But now we are already on the second year, so we extended it to about 3 years. Maybe we could recover by 3 years, assuming that the pandemic would end by end of this year or early next year. Based on the national government's plans, there is already I think we have enough vaccine that would arrive by the end of the year for our country to have what you call the herd immunity. So that would be about 70% of the population vaccinated. We only hope that that could also translate to the same vaccination rate at the region, because if you have read the reports of DOH, the Metro Manila or the NCR Plus, they call the NCR Plus, is now at about 63% vaccination rate, but here in our region it's less than 12%. So we hope that the 70% target for the Metro Manila could also be replicated here in the region. But based on their initial plans, based on the amount of vaccines that they have ordered before the year ends, then that could be reached. So with that, we're hoping that the pandemic could end by end of this year or early next year. And with that, say another 2 or 3 years, then we could have a full recovery. But our projection for the full recovery is not just it's not just a recovery to where we have been in 2019, but where we could have been by 2020. So if that's 2 years, that's 2024. That could also be made possible because 2022 is an election year, and based on experience, election year is also a year of spending. So that is good for all local economies. Yeah. So with that, we're really hoping that recovery could be fast-tracked with the spending for the elections. Thank you, Ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir. Any follow-up question?
Baka may idadagdag si Ma'am Wilma. Wala.
In terms, Ma'am, actually for projection, it's NEDA who has the authority to project the economic performance. Thank you po, Ma'am.
O sige, follow up na lang, Miss Gemma.
Yes, go ahead.
O sige, ano ho kaya ang dapat or what does the government plan para maka-recover this that soon?
Yeah, based on the rehab and recovery plan, ma'am, it encompasses all the sectors. So for the national government, the main strategy is actually to continue the build. That is the Duterte program. That is because based on past data, not only for the Philippines but also for neighboring countries, the infrastructure program could really provide local employment and could boost economic recovery. And not only that, if you have good infrastructure, then investments would come in. But that's theoretical, although there are already proofs in neighboring countries, so the government will continue that. However, we may have to how do you say this, to reformulate the plan, because as we know, the presidential term only ends every 6 years, so that's until next year. However, aside from the regional development plan and the Philippine development plan, we also have the Ambition Natin 2040, which is actually the long-term vision, which guides all the plans. So even if the current regional development plan would end by next year, we can still be guided by the Ambition Natin 2040, and the commitment of our nation to the 2030 national agenda or the sustainable development goals. So with that, of course, based on the rehab and recovery plan, foremost for the pandemic, we prioritize health. But once we stabilize that, meaning that we have, to some extent, we have achieved herd immunity. Maybe it may not be the herd immunity that is traditionally defined, because as we have no, based on the studies of the vaccines, you can be vaccinated, but still you could still be a carrier. So that is still a gray area. So it's not really the old definition of vaccine in which you are really immune and you cannot transmit the virus. So in this time, it's a different immunity. It's just a sort of a protection. So with that, maybe it's not an entire herd immunity, but to some extent, we could already maximize the opening of the economy. And not only that, although they now call it the new normal, di ba? As you now know, businesses are shifting to online. So this is also made possible because BSP, um, a few years ago, BSP already standardized or somehow established the payment system, online payment system. So when the pandemic struck, so we were quite, to some extent, we were buffered because the system is already there, established by BSP, and the online payments could, I mean, businesses could now shift to online payments with ease. So with that, the new normal would be that services would be shown, but mostly transactions, a huge part of the transactions would be online. So based on the plan, we focus on the safety nets. Of course, first is the health, and then social welfare as the safety nets. We protect education because based on recent studies, there may be an unrecoverable effect because as we know, this year and last year we have online graduates, and we cannot deny the fact that the productivity of this graduates may be different from the productivity of those before them. Although that can be remedied if they, because we all have a lot of trainings available nowadays. But based on uh, past experience, or shall we say past data, usually when we graduate from college and go into the labor force, very few of that part go into further education. So with that, I think there was an estimate by our central office about 40 trillion that can be lost due to productivity, and that is for the next couple of years. But however, we can still recover with the economy, especially for a region, because even with those loss in productivity, we now have alternative modes of learning that is being developed. So before, colleges do not offer online system of learning, but now they already offer that. And even the TESDA or vocational trainings and further education, post baccalaureate degrees, they are now offered online. So with that, productivity could be enhanced. I mean, the labor force productivity could still be enhanced. And trainings nowadays, the online trainings really help us a lot because before we do not have access to experts. About, I mean, our trainings are, shall we say, handed down to us, meaning some in our agencies have been trained by experts, and then those trained by experts pass on to those of us in the region. But now with the online system of learning, we could have ready access to experts, but we could directly interact with them. So that is really a boost to the productivity or the human resource in the provinces and in areas outside the NCR plus. So with that, we are very hopeful that even with the possible loss of productivity for graduates because of the online method of learning, which were at first, which were not really adapted to online because it was based on old modules and they somehow forced it to be online. But through time, our higher education institutions or the SUCs have developed the means really to make it more interactive and to make it more productive for students to hold it online. So that is for the social sector, and then now we go to the economy. Once we have provided the safety nets, then the economy could now return. But I think there has to be changes because not every part of the old economic structure could somehow be returned to what was normal way back then in 2019. So for example, tourism has to adapt. Uh, Tourism is among the most hit, and it may take longer for them to recover if they have to resume tourism based on the old concept. So, but there are now in some areas they have resumed tourism, but only at the limited visitors or capacity. Yeah. So, however, the most of the other aspects of economy, like trade, could be boosted. Not only could it be returned to normal, but with online system or platforms, it can be boosted. Diba? You could now access even foreign markets if you're a local seller through online. Before that is quite impossible. Diba? You have to go through a lot of channels, and that would increase a lot in terms of pricing and the efficiency of trade. But now you could go directly to other markets, and then all other sectors. So once vaccination can be established, then they could actually return, like manufacturing, um, all other sectors. Like, yeah, they could now resume. Agriculture has always been there. Although there has been restrictions in travel, but agriculture in the region has more or less remained growing throughout the pandemic. So thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Salamat,
you,
Sir
Miss Gemma.
Tito.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ma'am Ninfa. Balikan po natin si Ma'am Golda ng PA Samar para sa kanyang follow-up question. Miss Golda? Walang sound, Miss Golda.
Sorry. So I have another question po, either for PSA or NEDA. With the result of the 2020 CPH, Census on Population and Housing, did we craft any policies na po regarding the result of this, or using the result of this 2020 CPH, and in relation to the pandemic or other rehabilitation or recovery programs po ng ating gobyerno po? Thank you.
Okay po.
Ma'am Vilma, would you like to start or
Okay, so Lynette, okay. Kayo muna. Kayo, and then I'll just inform the public regarding the Mandanas ruling. Thank you.
Okay, Sir
Yeah.
Lito.
Thank you for that question, ma'am. For the CPH, this will now, I think Ma'am Wilma would be mentioning about how this will be used with the Mandanas Garcia ruling. So I will just focus on the other policies outside the use for budget. Outside the use of the CPH for budget, we are still studying on this because based on the result, I think the annual growth rate for Eastern Visayas or for our region is only about 0.5%. If was that right, Ma'am Wilma? But anyway, it's less than 1%. So based on studies, if you are to look at the UN population studies, they have cited that in any society or economy, if you go below a growth rate of about 0.8 to 1.1, then the reduction in population is already irreversible. So we are quite worried with the 0.5 or the less than 0.8% growth rate shown in the CPH the 2020. But of course, that may not be the case because it may be that the growth rate is slow because a lot of the people born in the region are actually going out, which actually does not mean that the population is really that affected. So this is an area for concern because if um, one of our objectives is to increase the per capita GDP of the economy, and to attain this, we need to increase the economy and by more than the increase in population, but we also need additional workforce in the future. So a very low increase in population or an almost zero increase in population is actually not good for an economy, especially for us that we are a developing economy. Maybe it's okay for first world because they could just import labor and they have the technology already established. But for us, we are still adapting to those technologies and we are still developing our own technologies, and we really need additional human resource for every additional increase in economic activity. So as of now, we are still studying on this. The results were just recently published by PSA, and I think Ma'am Wilma could add on the Mandanas Garcia ruling also.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ma'am Wilma.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Sir Lynette, no, for sharing the one of the uses of the results of the census of population and housing. So, bali, it was announced by DBM that roll out na din ang 2020 sa 2022 yung ating Mandanas Garcia ruling, wherein ini-strengthen natin yung ating local government units in terms of fund allocation, no? So that means medyo ang mangyayari, medyo lalaki yung budget ng local government units because of the full devolution ng because of this Mandanas Garcia ruling. So alam naman natin na in providing one of the uses of the census of population and housing is the use of the IRA, no, for the local government units. So talagang nagagamit ito para doon sa internal revenue allotment for the local government units. Isa talaga ito sa pinakamalaking gamit ng ating census results. So that would help, no, the local government units through the sharing of their internal revenue allotment from the census of population and housing. So dito sa Eastern Visayas, wala naman so far, no, wala naman kaming information as the creation of some administrative area so far. So isa din yan na sana magagamit yung result ng census of population and housing. So for other programs of the government, for example, yung 2020 census of population and housing results can be used in, sabihin natin, ano yung how much is kailangan natin na demand for rice, no? Kung ilan yung ating magiging demand for food for a specific food item. Kasi ngayon, although sabi ni as based on the results of the 2020 census of population and housing, maliit lang yung increase so as to the significant contribution to the allocation of resources in the region, medyo maliit din lang yung mapapansin natin because nga of the small increase of population or growth of population in Eastern Visayas. So bali, we can look at how we can allocate the resources, particularly sa food, no? And then as well as for health, kung ilan ba yung kailangan natin for vaccinations now that we're having a COVID-19 vaccination. And then of course, yung ating continuing program of the government for health, nandyan din yung family planning natin, as well as also yung security, no? Pagdating sa concerns ng security, ilan ba kailangan personnel yung ating dapat ma-hire given this new level of population, as well as also nandoon yung ating, actually sa health talaga marami, like the hospitals, number of beds, tapos ganon din sa education, how many teachers are we going to hire even if this is online that we are adapting for a new normal. So these are some of the uses na pwedeng gamitan ng ating mga agencies on their revision of their plans and programs given the results of the 2020 census of population and housing. Thank you.
Salamat po, Ma'am Wilma. Any more questions, Ms. Golda?
Yes po, I do have si Sir Ronald po may question baka. Si Sir Ronald lang po muna.
Okay, Sir Ronald.
Good morning pala, good morning. For 2 years na nagkaroon ng pandemic, so medyo marami ang nawalan ng trabaho because of business establishment reducing their employee. So my question is, do we have statistic on this year kung nag-increase ba ang ating employment at saka do we have programs for those who get unemployed last year because of the pandemic? Thank you.
Salamat po, Sir Ronald ng PAA Samar. Nandito na ba si Ms. Maray ng DOLE? Hello, Ms. Maray. Ma'am Wilma, pwede po.
Yes. Okay, sure. Regarding sa employment situation in Eastern Visayas, we're happy based on the results of the labor force survey natin ng PSA, which is conducted every quarter at saka yung every month, kaya lang yung every month natin is at the national level. But for the region, bale yung ating employment statistics, so looking at the trend no from 2020 up to ngayong 2021, we have increasing trend no. From July 2020, 91.9% yung employment rate natin. Tapos January after 2021, tumaas siya, no? So 92.4%. And then for April 2021, we have 95%. And as mentioned ko kanina, doon sa first question, as of for July 2021, that's 93.85%. We're saying that we're already hitting dito sa Eastern Visayas 90% and above yung ating employment rate. Thank you. So
Okay,
sa mga programa, Ma'am Gemma, sorry, sa mga programa, I think na-observe naman natin no yung ating local government units. We also have DOLE of their programs to ensure yung ating mga nawalan ng trabaho, they can also cope with this lost jobs they have during the pandemic period. Thank you.
Yes.
That I cannot say for other offices. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sir Ronald. Ma'am Marie? Parang wala yan sa Golda, may additional question ka pa?
Regarding po sana sa, I've learned that PSA and DSWD, they entered into a MOA. They entered a MOA na regarding sa verification ng mga beneficiaries sa 4Ps. So, meron na po ba tayo mga guidelines dito para kasi we are giving AICs po, yung mga assistance to individuals in crisis situations, and even sa 4Ps natin na mga benefits po na binibigay natin sa kanila. And since we already have a MOA, meron na po tayong guidelines kung paano natin mapapadali yung verification process natin and ano po yung mga dapat gawin ng ating mga 4Ps beneficiaries or ano yung mga gagawin naman ng PSA and DSWD po. Thank you.
Ma'am Golda, for the Memorandum of Agreement between PSA and DSWD, we would like to inform that the central office, we haven't received any information yet on this regarding the Memorandum of Agreement and for the verification of our 4Ps beneficiaries. So once we have this, we will disseminate that to the media. And to the public. Thank you.
Okay, thank you po, Ma'am Wilma. Thank you, Miss Golda. I'd like to inform that Ma'am Marie is around, pero medyo mahina po yung kanyang network, kaya hindi yata siya makapasok po. Anyway, parang nakita ko na po si Sir Jimmy. Sir Jimmy, for your question.
Yes, ma'am. Pasensya kasi multitasking ako. The same time on the air ngayon. Pero balikan ko na lang ang mga sagot kaya mamaya. Pero ewan ko kung nasagot na ito kasi hindi ako nakatutok. Pero babalikan ko ang buong virtual pressure. Yung sa akin lang kasi Philippine Statistics Authority isa sa pinagbabasihan ng RTWPB at saka NIDA, National Economic Development Authority. Yung statistics kailangan kasi ng RTWPB kung ano na ba, pwede na bang magkaroon ng pagtaas ng minimum wage sa Eastern Visayas. Sa statistics, ma'am, sa PSA, kumusta po yung statistics niyo sa mga bilihin dito sa Eastern Visayas, lalo na sa Tacloban? Kasi isa ito na pinagbabasihan kung mataas ang bilihin ay isang factor na pwede na magtaas rin ng minimum wage sa Eastern Visayas.
Hello, yes, Sir Jimmy. Thank you very much for the question. So, looking at the inflation rate, no, sa trend ng ating inflation rate in Eastern Visayas, we have for 2021 the latest data we have is for August 2021, and we have 3.5%. Ibig sabihin, there is an increase already of about 3.5% the uh, from the prices of goods and services last year of August 2020. So may increase po tayo ng 3.5% ng growth of the prices of goods and services. So yun po yung ating rate. So para ang ating rate ay nandyan sa actually sa pinakamababa doon sa 2021 natin is 1.7% ang increase ng ating prices of goods and services nung January 2021 at medyo tumaas siya ngayong August 2021 po, Sir Jimmy.
Okay, salamat po again, Ma'am Wilma. Sir Jimmy, any follow-up question?
Okay. Ano pong participation ng PSA dito, ma'am, sa board?
Sa tripartite board, ang participation ng PSA, we provide statistics on inflation rate, and then ano yung latest data on poverty statistics, kasi yung palagi yung pinapa-present sa amin pagdating sa wage rate meeting, pagdating sa wage rate na discussion po, Sir Jimmy.
Na-report na po ba ito sa board, ma'am? Itong statistics ninyo?
We provide regularly data to DOLE po. Lahat ng ating mga agencies and the media, we provide regularly the data po.
Opo. Thank you, ma'am. Mahirap naman ako magtanong hindi in relation itong activities ninyo.
Thank you, Sir Jimmy.
Okay, salamat po, Ma'am Wilma. Thank you, Sir Jimmy. Mayroon pong rejoinder po si Ma'am Maray. Isinulat na lang sa chat room kasi hindi siya makapasok. For DOLE po, we have been assisting displaced workers through various programs such as livelihood and emergency employment programs. As of August 2021, we have already provided financial assistance to 52,160 displaced private sector workers and 139,206 informal sector workers. Ito po yung kanyang sagot kanina sa question ni Golda yata.
Kay Ronald po. Pero thank you po. Thank you, Ma'am Norma.
Sorry. Okay, salamat po. So, ngayon ay balikan naman natin si Sir Ronnie Januario. Nandito na yata si Sir Ronnie para sa kanyang question.
Yes, good morning po, ma'am.
Good morning.
Naririnig po ba ako?
Yes.
Okay, yes, ma'am. I would like marami akong katanungan na gustong itanong sa ating mga bisita, lalo-lalo na po sa DOLE. Pero sa tingin ko yung DOLE hindi nakakasagot agad. It's because na mahina ang signal nila.
Sige lang po kasi sinusulat naman niya yung sagot sa chat room.
Okay. So unahin ko muna dun sa PSA. So kay Director Will mga Perante. Hello Director. First of all, sabi pa this is the anniversary na National Statistic Month. Gusto ko lang sana itanong ano ang support ngayon na anniversary po ng statistic? Ano po ang support ng NSO o National Statistic Office o Authority regarding naman doon sa mga naging biktima sa mga pandemya? Kasi narinig ko lang po kanina sa discussion sa mga presentations ng anniversary is may mga challenges at different contests. Si Sir Jimmy lang daw mananalo ata noon sa TikTok. So yun na gusto kong i-clarify. Until now, meron na ba support po na NSA regarding po sa pandemic? Ngayon po mag-anniversary na po kayo for this month of October.
For the National Statistics Month celebration, it's a nationwide undertaking of all the government agencies, the local government units, the media, the private sector, the academe, no? So for the whole it's a nationwide undertaking of all the local government units as well as the government national government agencies and the private sector. So collaborative efforts po ito in celebrating the 32nd National Statistics Month. Very particular yung contribution namin sa affected ng pandemic. So if you would still recall, the mandate of the Philippine Statistics Authority is to provide general purpose statistics. So for example, yung ating inflation rate, yung ating labor force statistics or employment statistics, foreign trade statistics. We also have other administrative data statistics pagdating din sa agriculture, mayroon din tayo. So para bigyan yung ating mga agencies na nag-i-implement ng programa kung ano na ba, where are we now? Parang dapat masagot natin, where are we now through the evidence-based statistics. So yun po yung ginagawa ng PSA. So bale, also mayroon po din programa ang PSA regarding the national identification system. So we're encouraging the public, although sinasabi natin ang under 11065 yung ating at under the Philippine Identification System Act, sinasabi natin na okay, this is voluntary but we encourage everyone to enroll and to register and enroll for our national ID para lahat magkaroon ng ID para kung mayroon man silang they will transact business with government and private entities, mayroon silang ipapakita na PhilID para sila maka-avail of or makapag-transact ng business dito sa mga opisina na ito. So, we are also rolling out the community-based monitoring system wherein dito, doon kay Ma'am kanina, Ma'am Golda, natin tanong niya na mayroon bang related, although wala kami pang MOA sa DSW related to this, but community-based monitoring system is one of the undertaking led by PSA para then sa programa related to poverty. Kaya may pilot tayo ngayon, which is one of the pilot areas of the 9 areas in nationwide. Mayroon tayong City of Baybay na pilot for the community-based monitoring system. Pero ang rollout po nito ng community-based monitoring system will be next year pa po sa 2022. Poverty naman ito ang focus, Mayroon din itong kinukuha din natin yung ating mga government projects and programs at saka yung kinukuha din natin yung mga natural resources available doon sa LGU as well as yung kanilang facilities available. So tinitingnan din natin yan at kino-cover pagdating sa profile ng isang barangay. So we have various questions related to health, nutrition, housing, itong mga indicators related to poverty aside of course for economic and demographic statistics, marami tayong makukuha ng mga indicators from the community-based monitoring system po.
Salamat po. Follow-up question, Ronnie. Okay. So, moving on, tawid naman tayo sa Biliran. Pakinggan po natin yung katanungan ng ating partner from PIA Biliran, Ms. Lani Tupas.
Hello na James. Good morning. Madungog ko?
Yes, you're loud and clear.
Pero dili ko maka-video ha. Can't start video ang ako dire ha. Dili ko wala ko'y camera. So, ang ako'y pangutana is Director Wilma Perante. Kaning ma'am, kanang for 32 years, nagpadayon, More than 3 decades na ang Philippine Statistics Authority, starting from National Statistics Office. Then, maghisgot ta about mga economic kanang status sa mga tao nato ilabi na karon sa pandemya. Mangutana lang ko kay in 1 month or in 1 quarter, magdaghan kaayo mo og kanang survey, nagsapaw-sapaw, Usahay, magkuwang na siguro mo sa inyong mga enumerators. So for more than 32 years, kanang inyong mga enumerators, ano sa man na ninyo irregular? Kaya usahay, magsige man mo og hiring for enumerator, hiring for kuan. Nya usahay, dili pa makastart kay kuwang pa ang tawo. How about kung kanang inyong move for 32 years, na inyong regalo, instead of holding other activities, na inyong ikuan nga, irregular na to atong mga kuan, atong mga enumerators kay usahay na makakita ba atas pictures sa inyong enumerators ning saklang dito sa kabukiran nang gibaktas unya ang pay di ay nila murag kanang by kuan lang sa by questionnaire dayon wala sila security of tenure. So, wala ba'y move ang inyong opisina pag regular sa inyong mga enumerators para po na sila security of tenure niya ma-improve po na ilang mga economic status nga inyong gi-monitor kay dili ba yata makakuha no og data ang tanan mo gamit sa data nga gipangita gisuroy-suroy sa PSA. Dan kining mga tawo nga nagpinangita di ani nag-collect di ani nga mga data walay security of tenure. Mao lang ma'am.
Okay, thank you Ma'am Lailani, no. Thank you very much for the concern of our statistical researchers. Ganito kasi yun ma'am, no, ang situation ng PSA. We have limited positions available under the structure ng Philippine Statistics Authority. Mayroon po kaming limited number of personnel to be hired based on the approved structure of positions dito sa opisina sa Philippine Statistics Authority. So for every activity or project being conducted by PSA, mayroon po kaming limited ganito. We are restricted based on the funds available provided by PSA. So hindi po kaya ng aming opisina to sustain this number of personnel to be na aming ina-hire, no, hired by our surveys kasi nga hindi siya ganon ka, there is no regularity for most of our surveys. Yung aming lang may regularity of data collection, yung aming mga regular naming kinakandak under the sa aming National Expenditure Program. But for some programs, even if it's under the National Expenditure Program, these are surveys na hindi siya kinakandak. Ibig sabihin, hindi po siya kinakandak every month or every quarter. So these are being conducted every year for some surveys, every 3 years for some, and then yung census natin every 5 years or every 10 years. So kaya wala din kaming positions na positions na being recommended to the DBM to have additional kasi we cannot also defend of the functions that we will be doing for us to create additional positions to be hired in regular, no, or for permanent position. So right now yung aming medyo mayroon kami ngayong mayroon kaming move yung aming new programs, particularly for the community-based monitoring system. We're hoping that there will be additional permanent positions to cater naman po doon sa ating new program or new mandate of the Philippine Statistics Authority ang community-based monitoring system. Even the Philippine Identification System, yung ating pong hiring po kasi nga hindi naman siya yung throughout magre-register, no? So yung ating programa is once we completed all Filipinos to register and to enroll for the PhilSys, medyo wala na din tayong tao na i-maintain kasi nga more of the updating and then online din naman ang ating application. So for that ma'am, because of not regular po ang ating mga surveys na itinakandak, kaya po ang ating provision as to the funds ay para lang talaga sa ating mga statistical researchers na i-hire natin based on a program or project based po yung ating hiring. Thank you, Ma'am Lailani. Ganun po ang ating setup po sa PSA.
My follow-up.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay na.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Laning. Thank you, Ma'am Wilma, for the clarifications. Baka may tanong po si Sir Neil ng PIA Regional Office. Sir Neil Lopido.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ma'am Chema, sa atong guest, RD, Karanki, kay Sir Pascual, kay Ma'am Marie, and our partners from the media. Ito na lang for 32 years ng ating NSM celebrations in the country. There are a lot siguro, there are a lot na of achievements ang ating PSA and so supported with our partners during celebrations. Can you na lang ma'am, can you share to us the achievements of PSA during NSM celebrations, ang ating mga recognitions received na from national, especially from national, compared from other regions in the country, PSA offices in the regions.
Okay, thank you Sir Neil, no. Bali yung ating we are recognized no by our stakeholders for hindi lang for PSA, no, but for PSA, the PSA is being recognized as one of the outstanding stakeholders in the region, awarded by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. So talagang we're very happy and grateful for this award. Of course, we cannot do this without the assistance of our partner agencies, no. And also, we are also happy to inform na the Regional Statistics Committee, Region 8, of course, this is you are also a member, the PIA and other national government agencies and LGUs, and yung ating statistical community in Eastern Visayas. So bali, mayroon po tayong award received consistently na mga ilang taon na din as one of the best Regional Statistics Committee ng nationwide, received from awarded by the PSA board as well as the PSA central office. So yun po yung ating mga awards because mayroon din for related to the National Statistics Month, in addition, no, mayroon din tayong the best NSM award, no, the best NSM region during the 31st National Statistics Month celebration. We also bag an award, no, given by also by PSA and as well as also by in coordination with other agencies in the central office. So yun po yung mga awards na nare-receive natin dito sa Region 8 po, Sir Neil.
Thank you, Ma'am Wilma. Thank you, Sir Neil, for your question. Is Ma'am Sol around? Baka may katanungan po siya. Miss Sol Alarcon ng PIA
Sol is in
Regional.
another meeting, hindi naka-join niya yun.
Okay. So any more questions? Wala na ba tayong follow-up questions? Ma'am Golda, wala na?
Meron po.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes po, good morning once again po. My question is regarding sa ating naman national identification na program. So kumusta na po yung program natin dito, and so far ilan na po yung ang tawag ito, yung nag-avail ng program natin, and ano po yung ginawa ng if ever may ginawa po yung NEDA regarding sa mga na-register po natin dito, and ano naman po yung mga actions din po ng PSA regarding this one. And sige po, yun lang po muna, and I will have a follow-up again po kaya.
Okay, Ma'am Golda, bali, thank you for the question, no. So bali, mayroon po tayong as of September September 27 po yung latest data natin. Bali, yung ating target po dito sa Eastern Visayas is about 3,090,259. So nandun na po tayo sa 63% yung ating na-register. So umabot na po tayo as of September 27 ng 1,945,341 na nakapag-step 2 registration na po. So kasi 'di ba kung mare-remember nyo, there are 3 steps in the registration process. One is capturing of demographic information. The second is capturing of biometric information, and the other one is the issuance of the Philippine Identification System number and the PhilID card. So 63% na po tayo yung ating accomplishment as of September 27. So this is already a very big accomplishment for Eastern Visayas, no? Kasi mayroon pa tayo until December para sa remaining nating targets to be registered. So, mayroon na din po tayong PhilID cards na na-distribute. So, it's about, na-receive na po ito ng PhilPost kasi yun po yung ating na-outsource in terms of the distribution and delivery of our PhilID cards. Mayroon na po tayong 148,076. This is as of September 22 na na-receive ng PhilPost, and then they delivered already 100,156 PhilID cards. So, ano yung mga steps na ginagawa na ngayon ng gobyerno o yung PSA, no? So bali, mayroon na po kaming advisory na pinalabas, and then also other agencies honoring already the PhilID card in transacting business with us. So mayroon na pong memo ang Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, the DILG, the BIR, the DFA, at saka yung PhilPost, and of course DILG, mayroon na silang advisory and memo to all the LGUs to accept, no, PhilID card in transacting business with them. So we also have an advisory to all the private sector then, to all the national government agencies and private entities na pwede na po na tanggapin yung ating PhilID card from the public or from the client using the PhilID card in transacting business with them. So, mayroon na din pong resolution, no, issued by RDC, hindi for approval pala yung RDC, but for RSC, for the acceptance in joining the government agencies, the private sector, and other agencies to accept PhilID cards in transacting businesses. So I think Solinet will be updating us kasi ang alam ko for approval pa ito ng RDC sa September 30 yung ating RDC resolution regarding the acceptance of the PhilID card. So yung po yung ating mga, and then ma'am, mayroon na po kaming gusto lang namin ipaabot sa public na we're working towards already the verification on how we can verify through a QR code reader ng mga agencies, an offline mode and online mode method or mode of verification of the PhilID cards that will be presented to these agencies or offices. So mayroon na po itong ginagawa ng PSA. So soon to be released po ngayong September, and then December po yung aming isang programa po.
Thank you, ma'am. Oh, Golda, mayroon pa?
May I add, ma'am? Or okay na add to, ma'am?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. For NEDA, I think na-mention ni Ma'am Wilma, that is for approval tomorrow, ma'am, and ano. But for NEDA, especially our secretary, this is special to him. He really supports, and we as an institution, sa NEDA, we really support the Philippine National ID System. One of the purpose kasi that we can use this for is for financial inclusion. If you may recall, RA 10922 that would celebrating the Economic and Financial Literacy Week, that would be next month, November. Let me just give an example. For example, Kenya has a per capita GDP about $1,800, while we, Philippines, has a per capita GDP about 3,400. So about half lang ang Kenya. But in terms of financial inclusion, their financial inclusion index is like more than twice the Philippines. This is because of their national ID system, which they use for financial inclusion. How this works is that they have a payment system in which text-based lang siya. It's not even internet-based, so that they could send money or receive money, either payment or remittances through cell phones lang, using the national ID system as the identifier for the person. Kasi ang national ID, it can reach everyone because everyone is mandated to have the ID. So once you have the ID, you now have an identifier. So pwede ka na actually ma-prove na ng banking system or the payment system na legitimate yung tao na nag-send or nag-receive ng payment. So if you have to look at Kenya, although they started from 500 per capita GDP US dollars in 2003, when they started their financial inclusion through the online payment, which is based on their national ID system, their per capita GDP jumped to 1,800 now. So that's a very huge increase in just a matter of years. Although we are still higher, but the rate of increase is really higher than ours. So isa lang ito sa example na importante talaga ang national ID because people, for example, like you don't, may mga tao kasi na di na kailangan mag-open ng bangko kasi they are first and foremost malayo yung bangko, and then ang bank, so malayo yung bank, so medyo inconvenient for them to open a bank account. And then how will they go to the bank? Like for example, if sari-sari store lang in a far flung barangay, medyo inconvenient or impractical naman na mag-open ka pa ng bangko, di ba? However, if you can be financially included, like for example, ang payment system, for example, may mga government employees tayo, for example, teachers na nandun sa mga faraway islands na they would still need to go to mainland just to get their salaries. Diba? So with financial inclusion, so pwede na online na lahat. So they could just text the payment to the sari-sari store vendors. So they could do local spending locally through financial inclusion. So, and ang importante lang kasi sa financial inclusion is that you can prove that the receiver and the sender of the money is really a legitimate person. And this is where the Philippine ID system can really play a very vital role. So we are really very supportive, and we thank PSA for this, and it's almost completed na. So thank you, ma'am.
Salamat po, sir. Thank you. Any more question regarding sa National Statistics Month celebration? Okay, Ms. Golda again.
Yes, it's not actually regarding sa National Statistics Month celebration per se, but it's still related to statistics natin at saka sa role ng PSA, and it's regarding pa rin po sa ating Philippine ID. So we've been opening po Philippines field registration centers po. So, and is it open ba sa lahat? Kasi if I'm not from different sectors, before opening it to the public, yung pag-register natin sa national ID natin. So is it open na po ba for to everybody? Kasi yung iba nahihirapan kumuha ng ID. So can anybody apply? Ano po ba, can anybody go to PSA and have their national ID po? And kumusta na po yung mga PhilSys registration centers natin po dito sa region, or if meron po tayong data dito sa
Golda, na wala ka na. Okay, Ma'am Wilma?
Okay, Ma'am Golda. Bali, continuing yung ating registration for Philippine Identification System. Bali, however, meron tayong mga municipalities or LGUs natin na registration centers na na-close na because we have already saturated the registration. Ibig sabihin, yung ating target for 18 years old and above na kumpleto na, and even those LGUs na nag-allow ng registration for 5 to 17 years old na rehistro na din for some LGUs na nag-allow na allowed by IATF para magpa-register for the PhilSys. So there are some LGUs na nag-close na, and also mayroon tayong mga provinces na mobile, nagmo-move yung ating teams, registration teams from one municipality to another municipality because of the limited number of registration kits. So hindi sila yung naka-station lang. So mayroon lang kaming identified na fixed registration centers kada probinsya, but there are also registration centers na nagmo-move yung ating registration teams. So from one LGU to another. So kaya yun yung babantayan ng ating publiko na kung yun ay nakaschedule in that municipality at nakipag-coordinate ang PSA with the barangay officials and municipality, siguraduhin nila na talagang pumunta doon sa ating registration center. Kasi for the provinces of Biliran, Eastern Samar, Northern Samar, and Southern Leyte, nagmo-move po yung ating mga registration teams from one municipality to another. However, mayroon po tayong mga sinasabing fixed registration center na nakalocate doon sa malapit sa ating PSA offices. So, mayroon tayong fixed registration centers na identified po dito po sa Tacloban. Bali yung ating fixed na nandyan na talaga siya, hindi yan mag-move. So, that is it, Robinsons North, Tacloban. So, yun yung ating fixed registration center for Leyte. And then for Biliran, nandun siya sa Naval. For Samar, nandun siya sa Catbalogan. For Eastern Samar, nandun siya sa Borongan. And then for Northern Samar, nandun siya sa Katarman. And then for Southern Leyte, nandun siya po sa Maasin City po siya naka-station yung ating fixed registration center po. So, continuing po yung ating registration, we would like to encourage the public to avail of our online registration and online booking appointment for step 2 registration. They just have to visit our website www.psa.gov.ph and then hanapin po yung PhilSys, and then mayroon po doon doon sa aming website ng once makapag-open sila, pupunta po sila sa online registration ng ating Philippine Identification System, and then avail po of their online registration. They will have to submit online their demographic information, and then they can select the time, the day, and the registration center kung saan po sila pupunta. So sa aming website, makakapili po yung ating publiko kung saan sila pwedeng pumunta at kailan at anong oras sila pwedeng pumunta for their step 2, capturing of biometric information. So hindi po online yung ating biometric capturing kasi nga po kukuhaan talaga sila ng ating facial, iris scanning at saka yung ating finger biometrics po. So ganun po ang ating step 2. So continuing din po yung ating distribution of the PhilID cards. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Wilma. Thank you also for sharing with us the procedure for the online registration. Ms. Golda, are you done?
So far, yun na po yung questions ko. Thank you so much.
Okay, salamat po. Dahil wala na po tayong tanong, pakinggan po natin ngayon ang final messages ng ating mga bisita. Ma'am Wilma?
Ma'am, gusto ko lang din, sorry nakalimutan kong i-announce kanina yung ating 32nd NSM Infographics Contest for LGUs. So this is open to all the local government units. Talagang ini-encourage natin ito para po ma-enhance yung kanilang skills and talents in reporting statistics by making socially relevant infographic designs. So yun po yung ating isa sa mga contests na gagawin dito sa 32nd NSM. So bali, this aims to broaden the LGU's appreciation and application of new technology and innovation to keep the public updated with the latest COVID-19 statistics. So vaccination rollout and social and economic recovery efforts. So yun po yung isang contest, one of the contests that we will be conducting for the 32nd NSM. So for my closing, I would like to thank PIA, Ma'am Gemma and her team for inviting PSA and also allowing the Regional Statistics Committee disseminate the 32nd National Statistics Month activities as well as the importance of NSM. So in behalf of RSC and PSA Region 8, I would like to encourage all agencies, government, local government units, academic institutions, and state universities, and colleges and the private sector to actively participate in the 32nd NSM. So let us continue to actively support and help our country to steer socio-economic recovery by creating employment and other economic opportunities through evidence-based official statistics. So we're looking forward of participating our public as well as our partner agencies and stakeholders in celebrating the 32nd National Statistics Month. Thank you very much and keep us safe always. God bless us all. Thank you, Ma'am Gemma.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Wilma Perante, the Regional Director of the Philippine Statistics Authority, Region 8. Sir Lito?
Yes, thank you, Ma'am Gemma. I would like to thank PSA, especially Ma'am Wilma and her team for organizing the NSM and for always being there not to celebrate the NSM. We at NEDA, we are among the beneficiaries of this NSM because as we celebrate the National Statistics Month, we keep on advocating the importance of statistics, which is actually just a knowledge that we can assess regarding its accuracy and relevance. So that is why statistics is really important, especially for us policymakers, that we can assess whether the policies we're making are really are geared towards the right impact that it is planned for. So in behalf of our director, Attorney Bonifacio G. Uy, thank you very much. And we hope that we can continue celebrating every year so that especially there are still official statistics that are not yet appreciated even by the government. No, it's not, for example, we have the classification system of PSA that is still not widely used. And we are hoping that it will be used by everyone. So thank you, ma'am.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Linito Pascual of the National Economic and Development Authority. Okay, so dito po nagtatapos ang isa na namang edisyon ng Panindugan sa PIA, a virtual kapihan among PIN friends. Maraming salamat sa ating mga bisita. Maraming salamat din sa ating mga kaibigan sa local media at ang ating PIA InfoSend managers. Sana po magsama-sama ulit tayo sa susunod na edisyon ng Panindugan sa PIA sa pamamagitan ng Whole of Nation approach, sa pamamagitan po ng patuloy nating pagbabalita ng makabuluhang impormasyon sa ating walang sawang pag-explain, makakamtan natin ang ating mga mithiin na magkaroon ng empowered citizens, makakamtan natin ang matagal ng minimithi na kapayapaan at kaunlaran dito sa ating rehiyon. Malalabanan natin ang paglaganap ng COVID-19. Tulong-tulong, hawak kamay tayong lahat at sama-sama po nating makamtan ang mga mithiing ito. Ito po ang iyong kaibigan at lingkod bayan na si Gemma Tabao ng Philippine Information Agency Region 8. Muli, magandang araw at mabuhay ang Eastern Visayas. Thank you po. Picture.
Thank you, everyone.
I-open ng ating mga camera.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, media.
Salamat po. Thank you, everyone, and keep safe.
Bye, ma'am.